It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is an area we call the Pete Sousa Show. You probably think you're in the Twilight Zone right now because I'm not Pete Sousa. I'm actually Pete's producer, Cam Stewart. Well, you're not. You're in the right place, and we have got a great show for you today with Pete. Pete was doing a game last night, Kansas State, UCF, gut check win for the Golden Knights on the road, and 0-4 for Kansas State. So what he is doing is previewing the national championship football game over the next 2 days with a series of 2 awesome interviews. The first one is today, and this is right up Pete's alley because, well, he's a pro's pro and doesn't root for any team because he is such a consummate professional. We got to remember, Pete is a child of the late 80s and the early 90s. And like those of you watching who are from that time, you knew that at least back then, it was all about the U. Pete Sousa, Two Live Crew, Greg Olson, Vinny Testaverde. They're all kind of mixed in the same place. But the one who's actually in the inner circle for the Miami Hurricanes is our guest for today. That is Don Bailey Jr. Now, this is really fascinating, okay, because Don played at Miami in the late 70s and early 80s under the legendary Howard Schnellenberger, and now is the color analyst for Miami Hurricanes football on the radio. So two really interesting kind of angles here. First off, Don is like completely in tune with this team, man. He goes with them everywhere. He goes to the meetings. He'll have stories from the meetings. He travels with the team. He knows this team about as well as Mario Cristobal knows this team. The other angle here, too, is that, again, he played for Howard Schnellenberger in the late 70s to early 80s. And for those of you old enough to remember that, that was the first time Miami was really good in football consistently. That was the turnaround. There was talks of giving up the sport at Miami long before Sports Illustrated tried to get them to do so. And so you do get that vantage point of here's someone who lived it at Miami, who is seen as the powerhouse, the dynasty, trying to get revitalized. But on the other side of Monday night's matchup is the team that's going through that same thing, the transformation in Indiana. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Pete Sousa with Don Bailey Jr. on why the Miami Hurricanes are going to get fitted for national championship rings as early as Tuesday morning. Let's do it.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We are presented by Slovakics, and we are bearing down. Home stretch, national championship game in Miami. It is Indiana, and it is the Miami Hurricanes. And we bring on Miami radio analyst and former Miami Hurricane. He was in the eye of the storm as the center. We're talking to Don Bailey. He joins us right now. Don, first of all, I love the shirt. I love the vibes. I love the championship feeling back around the Miami Hurricanes. Now, you were a Schnellenberger guy, correct?
I was actually his captain my senior year, and it was a great experience. I came in the first class of Coach Schnellenberger. So I was there when he stood at the podium and said, Miami's going to win a national championship, and the only variable is time. And he was right. He got his in 5, and Mario's knocking on the door in 4. So time is of essence.
So, and you departed right before the national championship team, correct?
Correct. I got drafted the year before.
And you helped lay the foundation. Your story's awesome. You were thrust into the starting lineup against Penn State as a freshman, right? And you earned your keep right away against one of the best teams in America. And then we were off and running with your career and laying the foundation for this championship pedigree that Schnellenberger would develop and then the university would develop. This championship run, and I was very young in 83, but I know all about the history. It feels kind of similar to the one in 83 with Schnellenberger, almost like nobody really saw it coming. I think Indiana is a favorite on Monday night, and I still think Miami, and I don't want to, it's cliche to be like, oh, they're not getting the respect, but I still think people aren't quite understanding the power of this particular football team. Do you agree on that at all?
I do. I credit you because I feel the same way that it is eerily similar to what Coach Schnellenberger did. And you have to remember it was 14 or 15 years before Coach Schnellenberger came in. Miami had only gone to one bowl game. And he came in and, it was a 5-6. Mario was 5-7. And then the next year, Coach, I think we went to 9, and then we fell back to 7, or, it was a gradual climb. And that's what's happened with Mario, Coach Cristobal. He's done a great job of building the momentum, of putting the people in place. But I think the most important thing was that they both have done is that they ultimately got their type of player, their type of attitude, their type of commitment, and everybody that was on that team. And that's really what's led to the championship run like right now, and great coaching. Both of those guys are, and I'm not afraid to compare Mario Cristobal to Howard Schnellenberger. I'm not. The work ethic is the same. The attention to detail is the same. The intensity is the same. And it's just two different eras of football. But there's a lot of comparisons, and I think it would be a compliment for both of them.
What do you think is about Mario Cristobal that separates him from the rest of his coaching fraternity that has enabled him to spearhead a run like this?
Big picture wise, it's his work ethic, and he's proud of it. It's second to none. His attention to detail is, again, nobody can touch it. You know, I say nobody can touch it. Coach Schnellenberger did, Jimmy Johnson did. You know, there's guys that are very, very good at what they do. They have attention to detail, but Mario is in that class of coach. I think the thing that's important to note about Mario that it isn't really talked about, and is that there is nothing harder and more challenging in the world than running a family business, which is what I do, or taking over at your alma mater. You've got 100 years of football behind Mario Cristobal. I mean, this year was the 100th anniversary at the University of Miami. There was all kinds of ghosts and all kinds of heroes and all kinds of success and all kinds of failure, and hundreds of players that all have their idea on how it should be done and why it should be done and why it isn't being done. And to have a man come in who understands all of that and take over the family business and bring it to the highest level in its industry is an amazing feat. And there's more obstacles, I believe, to deal with when you come home to take over your alma mater than if you were on the road. And, you know, a lot of that is built in from you being there as a player and you being there as an assistant and you having family members play there and the 100 guys that you played with. And he has handled it perfectly.
And look no further. You make an amazing point about the alma mater and the challenges. Having called a UCF football game this year, Scott Frost is not afraid to share with people just the challenges that came with going back to Nebraska, which eventually became overwhelming. And Scott Frost is a great dude and a great coach, but sometimes there is a lot, those ghosts can be awfully loud, right?
You're right. And the good thing is Coach Cristobal manages those ghosts and he listens to the ones that can help, but he knows what he's doing. And he's had a sniper's view of where he wants to go since the second he hit campus, and probably it started when he years and years back on when he was watching this program and things that needed to be done. But you know, it's not an easy gig. And Miami, you know, aside from the period where Coach Richt won 10 football games, I guess it was in 17. You know, we'd gone 20 years and only had two. Mario had one 10-win season and Coach Richt had one 10-win season. We'd gone 20 some odd years, and that was the peak. And then now for Coach to really, you know, we lost those two games. We lost to Louisville, we lost to SMU, and make no misunderstanding. After that SMU loss, Coach Cristobal had that team meeting, and he got this team refocused, and they haven't lost a game since. So, you know, nobody threw in the towel. He didn't give up. The team didn't give up, and they got re-inspired, and they understood where they were and how they had to make adjustments, and they've done it, and they've been unstoppable since.
Don, you literally were in the trenches with the Hurricanes, and you're in the trenches now in a sense where you see every game, right? You've seen every game. Was there a moment this year when you are dialed in, calling a game, analyzing a game, and you noticed, oh, this team has turned the corner? Like what had held them back before is no longer holding them back. They have broken through. If there was a game or even as specific as a play, I know that's a reach, but was there a moment where you thought to yourself, as somebody who knows a lot about this particular situation, these guys are for real?
A couple. And it's another fantastic question by you is I remember sitting in the offensive line meeting room on the Tuesday before Miami played Florida. And for Hurricanes, especially the older ones, there's no bigger game than Miami versus Florida. The younger guys, Florida's not on the schedule like it was year in and year out. But I remember walking into that meeting room, which I do every week, and I sit in my spot, and everybody was in that meeting room. You know, they're with Coach Cristobal, 15 minutes early is on time, right? So everybody was 15 minutes earlier than early, and they were sitting in there, and I walked in, and nobody said a word. And the tape wasn't on. Coach Mirabal wasn't in the room yet. Nobody said a word. That room was full. They were in place. And this is 7:10 in the morning. Nobody's joking around, and they were silently focused. And I'll never forget that. And then the meeting after Miami lost to SMU, the team meeting where Coach challenged them and showed them why they should be undefeated, why they're not winning the football games, and challenged his team to be better than they are, and to stop making the mistakes, and to understand that a championship is in their grasp if they will just do what they're capable of doing. And he got another commitment, another level of commitment out of that football team, and they've been undefeated since.
How about the family affair that this has become? The Jimmy Johnson, the Michael Irvin, this is unlike any other college football program that I've ever identified as when Miami is thriving, and it's not like these guys come out of the woodwork. They've been there the whole time, but everybody is able to, it's a reunion once again. And I think there's power behind that. And I think we've seen it literally. There's a force behind this team now that they don't have at Indiana, right? They just don't. What they're doing at Indiana is amazing, but they do not have, they just don't have the history that Miami has that collectively I feel like gives this team a push.
This is a compliment to all my Miami football players, right? From every era and every age. Miami guys are different. We're different. We just are. And I remember when I was in the National Football League, and I'd be in a locker room, and at the beginning of the year, and I was a free agent one time, and I was picked up by the Colts, and mid-season, and it was like, oh, that's a Miami guy, or they're Miami guys. And to me, that's a compliment to what you're talking about, the Michael Irvins and everybody, and the Jim Kellys and the Vinnies and the Bernies and the Rombergs and the Joneses, the list goes, the Lewises and the Taylors, the list goes on and on. They are Miami guys, and they're loyal. They're fiercely competitive. They will not allow you to say one negative thing about their program, even though they might, to get people rolling. But it's a special family, and there's been a saying going on that campus for probably before I got there was it's a Kane thing, and you just don't understand. And there's truth to that. And it's a tight-knit bunch, and it's a tough group. And again, back to my point about Coach Cristobal, in reality, he's got to manage the Michael Irvin still. He's got to manage those expectations, and the Greg Olsons and the Kellys and the Kozars. I mean, there's a lot of people that have pride in this program, and it's been built. And I really give Coach Schnellenberger the credit for the foundation of that. And he made sure that from when he took over, the level of commitment that was needed to play there and the desire to play there had to be in your heart and had to be set in your soul. And Coach Johnson built on it, and everybody has built on it ever since.
When you look at this game, right, it's a Kane thing, and you wouldn't understand. What will Indiana understand about Miami when we talk about this game on Monday night?
I'm sorry, I lost you there.
You're good. You're fine. What
Okay.
what will Indiana learn about Miami? What will they have to understand about Miami on Monday night that makes Miami special and gives them the edge over a team like Indiana? Where does Miami have an advantage in this game that really sticks out to you?
You know, I have to tell you, I don't know, and watching the tape of Indiana, that anybody's had an edge on Indiana.
No,
Indiana,
it's wild, man. It is wild.
I'm looking at it and I'm watching it. Their offensive line. I'm a former center, so I go right there. Their offensive line's playing out of their mind. Their defensive line, their linebackers, their experience. I don't know that Miami's going to go into that game with any edge, except they're Miami, and Miami wins games that they're not supposed to win. And Miami, on paper, is not supposed to win this game, but they weren't supposed to win against Ohio State, and they weren't supposed to win against A&M. And, there's other games that have come across the board that they're not supposed to win. They're going to show up. Miami's Coach Cristobal will have his team ready to play. And if they play a clean game and they play at the best of their ability, at their peak level, they're going to have a darn good chance to win. But I will say this, both teams, win or lose, are going to know that they played 60 minutes of football because they play a lot. They're both very, very tough and physical.
You are uniquely qualified to answer this question. What will playing in Miami do for the Hurricanes? Like, how does that benefit them?
I can tell you, I'll give you two examples. The first one is we've been on the road for 5 weeks, right? The last 2 games of the year were on the road against Virginia Tech and Pitt, and then these last 3 playoff games. And it's different. I mean, traveling and not in your house and not in your meeting rooms and getting the disruption again and again and again and again. I think it takes you out of your rhythm. I think it's a huge advantage it would be for me personally. I can't speak for kids today, but for me personally, I like being in home. I like being in my routine. I like being on schedule. I know where I'm going. I know how to get there. And it just makes the day more productive. I think that's important for Miami. And there's going to be the margin we hope is slanted towards Miami fans. Now, these tickets are very, very hard to get. And if on the open market, you don't know how it's going to end up as far as the number of fans go. But it's Miami's home. And this football team has had a lot of success playing at Hard Rock's, and Coach Cristobal's had a lot of success playing at Hard Rock. And I think it is an advantage.
What are you hearing about the ticket situation specifically? I saw you got a smile there. Is it like what's the story?
I can't even answer my phone anymore. I got people calling me from elementary school that I hadn't heard from. Hey Don, can you give me a ticket? Hey Don, can you give me a ticket? I said, I can't get myself a ticket. First of all, I'll tell you how tough it is. I don't even have my parking pass. So you tell me. I broadcast the games for, 25, almost 30 years, whatever it is, and no parking pass. So you tell me what the tickets are like. It's impossible. And, fortunately, I don't have to follow that deal getting tickets and this and that. I have my season tickets, of course, as all good Hurricanes should have. But, the tickets are impossible.
Wow. Okay. Well, tell me about your experience, playing in big games and seeing a lot of championships, playing in some. What defines like a championship game? Like, is it discipline? Is it poise? Is it talent? For you, what is the deciding factor there?
Yes, and yes. You're not off base. The thing that I try to describe to people, because I was asked this a couple times this week already. I said, it's the Ole Miss game, and let's just take the last three playoff games. A&M, of course, and then Ohio State, and then you have Ole Miss. When you're doing a regular season game, unless for me that it's Florida or Florida State or Notre Dame, you broadcast a game, and you go through the game, and it builds on itself. In these playoff games, and I've done championship games before, every play stands on its own 2 feet. Every play is as intense as the next. It doesn't matter if Miami's on offense or Miami's on defense. And I think that's really what the fans are going to see. And it'll come through. It'll come through across television. It'll come through if you're at the stadium. I certainly know if you're listening to WQAM, it'll come through my voice. But it really is. I think it really boils down to each play is important as the next. And again, it's still early in the week for me, but to me, the mistakes, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is probably going to have a good chance to win this football game.
When you look at a little bit of an extended break, I guess, in between games, right? Mm-hmm. How important is that for Miami, who have been playing since, I guess that was the 20th, that first playoff game? There's got to be a level of exhaustion because you mentioned it, every single play, there's just so much riding on it. How does this behoove the Hurricanes, this break? Because I think it does more so than Indiana.
Yeah, it gives them, the couple days, it's Arizona and back is a 5-hour shot. And the couple days to get healed up and a couple days to get back in your routine. And now, they're starting, I think tomorrow is tomorrow's Wednesday. So Wednesday is like Monday for a Monday game. You move the week back to match what a Saturday would be. And I think it's great to be at home for them, but it's going to be important that coach has already made the point. This is it. Everybody's tired. Everybody's beat up. Everybody's sore. But 134 or 5 teams are at home. There's 2 left. It's Miami and Indiana. And there's nothing to save up for. You give 60 minutes, you give your best 60 minutes of your life, and you got a chance to come away with a championship. So, and the point was brought up today is, okay, it's been a long season. Mm-hmm. Well, in the NFL, which everybody wants to go to, that's playing in this game on Monday night, you just finished your regular season. You got another 4 games if you're going to the Super Bowl. So the 17 games or the 16 games, that's what the NFL does every year. And then you go to the playoffs if you're lucky. So, they've given perspective on it, and they do a great job with nutrition. They do a great job with strength and conditioning. They do a good job of making sure these guys are rested. And I think Miami's going to come out, and I expect Indiana will come out the same way, on fire like week 1.
A couple more for you before I let you get out of here. Carson Beck, I pull for the Canes. I have since I was a kid. Growing up in Philadelphia, we really didn't, you had Penn State and Temple, but there was just something special about the U, right?
Right.
Carson Beck, early in the season, he still hadn't, and this is like the 30,000-foot fandom, mm-hmm. right? But he still hadn't quite earned my trust when I watched Miami play. Now he has, clearly, right?
Yes.
What changed in him over the course of the season? Did he always have that clutch gene, and now we're just seeing it? Or did you see there was a development of him? Poise, perspective, whatever it is.
I think one thing that people lost perspective of, and you take away some of the importance if you say, well, this guy's been in it 5 years, he's been in it 4 years, and he's played football. Carson Beck had a major injury in his last football game. He transferred, injured, went through spring practice, didn't throw a pass. Was in every meeting, was at everything that needed to be done. And he wasn't running the plays, and he wasn't throwing the football. And I think it took him, it's amazing the September that they had, and they had great success, undefeated in the month of September. And I think it just took a matter of him understanding the terminology, him understanding a whole new receiving core that he didn't throw to he didn't throw to in the summer. He started throwing in camp. So the chemistry started to build. The playbook started to get custom fit on what he's capable of. Shannon Dawson's done a phenomenal job with that. Again, he did the same thing with Cam Ward. And now you're seeing a comfortable Carson Beck that's thrown 1,000 balls to all of the receivers and handed it off 1,000 times to the backs and made the same calls. And there's a comfort level that now he has in the Miami system that's being combined with his experience in championship football games and Southeastern Conference football games, which he played in before he got here.
That's great stuff, Don. One more, being around the team, you've seen a lot of big time games this year these guys have had to play. How has the staff or other players, how have they kept the team overall as a whole loose so they don't get tight when the lights continue to shine brighter and brighter and brighter? They'll be the brightest on Monday. Is there something you've seen this program do to make sure the kids approach it with perspective and stay loose?
Well, Coach Cristobal, again, I give him credit, is Monday's Monday, Tuesday's Tuesday, Wednesday's Wednesday. It's the same thing again and again. He will not deviate from routine. He will not deviate times. He will not change his schedule. On Tuesdays, they're in full pads. They were in Tuesday in full pads in August. Tuesdays in September, they were in full pads. October, November, December, and January on Tuesdays, there's a full pass. Wednesdays, the same thing. He does not back off. He does not change anything. He builds a physical routine that allows Miami to play the type of football that he's built this team around, and he's consistent with it. So I think the routine and the practice schedule and the lifting schedule and the academics and just getting guys situated to where they know where they are every single day is the same exact thing. That is the biggest difference to me, because there's no thinking. You can just focus on your football. You know where to be. You know what to expect. And the big thing that I appreciate, because it's more of a throwback mentality, he doesn't back off ever. And that's why this team's in the position they are right now, because they are tough, they are physical, and they've been in some long, hard-fought ball games, and they enjoy it.
Tuesday morning, if you're exhausted from partying all night, Miami has won the championship. What happened in that game on Monday night that enabled Miami to become champions again?
Miami won the turnover battle. I think that's going to be that's my number one thing. I think the giveaway takeaway is huge in games like this. And you've got a quarterback on the other side that's 6-1, touchdowns, interceptions. You've got that just can turn the game. And look, you don't have to look any farther back than what happened with Indiana and Oregon. The pick six right away turned that game over immediately, and then they gave it away a couple more times, and they had a block punt. Oregon had a block punt as well. So to me, I'm a big turnover guy. Miami comes out positive 2. I think we're sizing up might be sizing up another ring. You come out positive 1, we'll see what happens. But if you're negative in that giveaway takeaway, it's going to make for a long evening.
So if you guys want to hear Don, it's really easy. I do this all the time. I have Sirius, and sometimes, during the game, I'll just kick it over to the Miami broadcast. You can listen right there. Just go to college football on your Sirius app, hit the game, and then boom, you get to choose. And we're listening to the Miami feed, and hopefully we're listening to a very happy Don Bailey Jr. on Monday night. Don, thanks so much for the time, and this insight is invaluable. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, my pleasure, and I hope I'm talking to you about this time next Tuesday, and we're talking about what size ring Miami Hurricanes are going to be wearing.
You're going to be the first person I ask. Don, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Don Bailey Jr., man, I couldn't be any more excited for this game. High stakes, big stage, and now we are set, man. Don set the table for us in extraordinary fashion. When you talk to someone, an analyst that not only obviously played the game at Miami, but these guys who call these games and travel with the team, they're exposed to things that 99.9% of the general population is not exposed to. And that's why you should listen to the Miami broadcast, and that's why it's great to catch up with guys like Don. All right, the Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. We appreciate you guys joining us today. We will catch you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Sousa Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.